Unbelievable journey. Billionaire discovers life-changing truth from a 12-year-old girl in a chaotic charity event. Jake Thornton stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows of his penthouse, staring down at the city that felt so distant now. Once, he used to see possibilities in every corner now, just lonely single-family homes and crumbling schools. The laughter of his daughter Emily echoed in his mind, haunting him with memories of bedtime stories and art projects, drowned out by the sounds of success. Ringing phones, clinking glasses, and executive decisions. A self-made billionaire in his late 40s, he was a titan in the corporate world, but his ruthless ambition had come at a devastating cost. His family lay in tatters, and Emily barely spoke to him anymore. She felt cast aside, a shadow of a father who seemed to cherish his wealth more than their relationship. On the night of the charity event, dressed in a custom-tailored suit that felt like armor, Jake's heart thumped against his chest. He reluctantly paced into the venue, crammed with people whose lives differed vastly from his own opulent bubble. He was surrounded by hopeful faces, each with stories so starkly different from his cold, cutthroat reality. As the crowd buzzed with excited chatter, he couldn't shake the sensation of being an imposter in this sea of genuine emotion. Then, there was Lily, a bright-eyed girl with spirit. With an unmistakable spark, she stepped onto the stage, bravely sharing her dreams of a mentorship program for aspiring artists. Her voice rang out, filled with hope and determination. "I want to help my friends find their voices," she declared, and Jake felt an unexpected connection. Her ambition mirrored his own, only hers was rooted in love and community, not greed. For a split second, he let himself dream about guiding Emily back into his life through the same creative endeavors Lily cherished. Before he could catch his breath, chaos broke. The applause morphed into shouts of indignation. Protesters surged forward, their anger directed at him. "You exploit the community, Jake." The words pierced through the air like arrows, and for the first time, he truly felt the weight of his privilege. Guilt washed over him as he stumbled out of the event, away from the warmth of genuine laughter and hopeful dreams. Days passed, and the image of Lily lingered in his mind. He discovered she juggled school while caring for her grandfather, a veteran burdened with memories of war. Jake was stunned. Here was a child, a warrior capable of immense burden. The more time he spent thinking about her, the more disillusioned he became with his own empty victories. Could he redefine success? Could he help rather than harm? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. Driven by a sense of urgency, Jake reached out to Lily. Together, they envisioned an authentic mentorship program, a means to uplift young artists and bridge the gap he'd once overlooked. But as their dream took shape, Jake faltered in confronting the shards of his shattered family. Gathering courage, he reached out to Emily, hoping to mend their broken bonds. Standing at the threshold of reconciliation felt daunting. Would she reject him? Or could they find their way back to each other amidst the chaos he had engineered? Little did he know, the answer led toward a journey he could never have anticipated. Jake's fingers trembled as he held his phone, staring at the screen where Emily's name flashed like a beacon. It had been months since their last real conversation, the kind that left them both feeling seen and understood. Memories of her childhood laughter, the way she used to light up when she showed him her latest art projects, flooded back. He sighed, going over the same thoughts again and again. Could he apologize for all the time he had missed? Could he make her believe he was truly sorry? With a shaky breath, he pressed call. The sound of ringing echoed like a drum in his ears. As he waited, he felt the layers of guilt and regret weigh heavy on his chest. "Hello?" Her voice was cautious, a hint of wariness hiding beneath the surface. "Emily, it's Dad." Silence followed, thick and heavy. Jake's heart sank. "Dad?" What do you want? She sounded older than her years, all sharp edges and guarded walls. I want to see you to talk. Talk about what? Isn't it a little late for that? Her words were sharp, each one cutting straight through the bravado he had built around himself. Jake could hear the hurt dripping from her tone. Please, Em. I know I messed up. I've been reflecting, and I want to make things right. I need you to know that I care about you, more than I've shown. Caring from a distance isn't really caring. Dad. She replied, disappointment lacing her voice. I want to be there for you. Properly. There's something important. I'm working on a mentorship program for kids like Lily. I'm trying to change the way I do things. I think it could be something meaningful for both of us. Perhaps we could work on it together? There was a long pause, and Jake held his breath, hoping he hadn't just pushed her further away. I don't know, Dad. This sounds like, I don't know, another one of your projects. What makes this one any different? I promise you it's different. This time, it's not just about me. It's about giving back, making a difference in lives, including yours. After a beat, Emily sighed, the sound filled with uncertainty. Okay, I'll consider it, but I'm not making any promises. Relief washed over him, a rush of warmth that filled the empty spaces in his heart. Thank you, Emily. Just let me know when you're ready. As they hung up, Jake felt renewed energy coursing through him. He knew it wouldn't be simple to rebuild what they had lost. Yet, he could almost envision the possibilities. Emily smiling as she shared her thoughts on art. Both of them immersed in the creativity that once brought them together. With a new sense of purpose, he turned back to his blueprint for the mentorship program. He began drafting plans, outlining practical steps and potential partnerships. There were schools in dire need, youth centers hungry for resources. His world felt different now, brighter, brimming with hope. But just as things began to take shape, an email notification blinked on his computer screen, turning his excitement into dread. It was from the charity board. An urgent meeting had been called regarding his recent involvement, and whispers of scandal had started to surface. What had he done wrong this time? An uneasy knot formed in his stomach. He'd barely begun to pull his life together, and now the specters of his past were closing in again. How could he face this challenge without losing everything he'd just started to build? As he prepared for the impending confrontation, a single thought blared inside his mind. Was he truly ready to fight for what mattered most? Jake sat at his desk, staring blankly at the email on his screen. The words blurred together, forming a cloud of panic that swirled in his mind. An urgent meeting meant more than just his work. It felt like a reckoning. He wasn't ready to face the past again, especially not when he had just begun to mend his relationship with Emily. He tapped his fingers anxiously on the table. The weight of everything he had lost threatened to crush him. Felt so unfair. He was fighting to rise from the ash of his mistakes only to be pulled back down by the very things he had tried to escape. He took a deep breath, forcing his mind to sort through the chaos. Concentrate, he told himself. An idea sparked. Perhaps this meeting was an opportunity, a way to prove he wasn't the man they thought he was. He leaned forward, pulling up his notes for the mentorship program. If he could articulate his vision, perhaps he could sway the board to see past his past. He made a mental note to emphasize how many young lives could be changed, how his own daughter might benefit as if she might be sitting there watching him. But as he prepared, a small voice in his head whispered doubts. What if they didn't care about any of that? What if it was all a charade, another performance he was destined to fail? He grounded himself, recalling the resolve he'd felt talking to Emily. If she could consider working with him again, then surely he could fight for something he believed in. He left the house, determined to take a step forward, even as the knot in his stomach twisted tighter. The air outside was crisp, invigorating. It helped clear his mind, if only a little. Maybe he could channel this energy into action. Arriving at the office, Jake found the conference room was already filled with board members. Their expressions seemed grave, and he instantly felt the sweat bead at his brow. He sat at the long table, feeling the usual rush of adrenaline flood his system. As whispers buzzed around him, he steeled himself, reminding himself of his purpose. Thank you all for coming today, began Sarah, the chairwoman, her voice steady but lacking warmth. We need to discuss recent developments regarding our community outreach initiatives. The room fell quiet, tension palpable. There are concerns about the integrity of our recent projects. Jake's heart raced as she continued. Each word felt like a drumbeat against his chest. He bit his lip, glancing around the table at the stern faces surrounding him. Would they blame him for their failures? Did they really think he'd return just to cause more chaos? Before he could overthink it, Sarah's gaze landed on him. Jake, you've been involved in several initiatives. I'd like to hear your thoughts on our current direction and, honestly, on the potential allegations against the charity's recent actions. At that moment, something shifted inside him. This was not just about facing scrutiny. It was an invitation to reclaim his narrative. I want to be honest, he began, his voice steadier than he felt. I understand the doubts, the scrutiny on my contributions. But I believe in what we're doing. And I believe we can make a real impact. The words flowed, fueled by the memory of Emily's cautious willingness to reconnect. He went on to outline his vision for the mentorship program, infusing his passion into each point. As he spoke, he watched the reactions, some intrigued, some doubtful. When he finished, silence filled the room again. Then a slow clap started from the far end. Jake turned in surprise, realizing it was Emily's art teacher, who had once been his ally. Brilliant, Jake. I think this is what we need to shift our focus back to our mission together. Encouragement spread, and Jake began to feel a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, he could rewrite his story. But just as the meeting began to shift in his favor, Jake's phone buzzed from his pocket. A message flashed across the screen. Emily needs you. It's urgent. His heart sank. What was it this time? Could everything truly be falling into place, only to unravel again? Jake's stomach lurched as he read the message. Urgent. Those words sent a wave of fear crashing over him, mingling with determination. He glanced up, seeing that the board members were still talking among themselves, but his focus shifted. Emily needed him. Excusing himself, he slipped out of the conference room, his mind racing. What could be wrong? Had something happened at home? Maybe it was just a small crisis that could be fixed with a quick phone call. But the dread that gripped him was not so easily quelled. He stepped out into the hallway, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Instinctively, he pushed the call button on his phone and didn't hesitate to dial her number. As it rang, he paced back and forth, the sound echoing against the walls, his heart in his throat. Jake? Her voice came through, shaky and thin, and all the air seemed to leave his lungs. Emily, what's wrong? Can you come home, please? There was a crack in her voice that made him feel smaller. Is it the baby? Is she okay? Emily let out a shaky breath. It's not the baby, it's something else. I can't explain it over the phone. The urgency in her tone sent a surge of fear crashing through him. I'll be right there. He hung up and raced back to the conference room. Sorry, everyone. I need to take a personal matter, he called out, ignoring the confused looks as he dashed for the door. Once outside, the crisp air hit him like a cold slap, forcing him to focus. He hopped into his car, gripping the steering wheel, each turn fueled by his growing anxiety. The drive felt endless. He tried to rein in his thoughts, to silence the chaos swirling around in his mind. What could be worse than before? Had life thrown yet another curveball at them, just when things were starting to look up? Arriving home, he sprinted up to the front porch, his heart hammering in his chest. He swung the door open, and there Emily stood, a palpable weight hanging in the air between them. Her eyes were wide and glistening. Jake, she said softly. He rushed over, taking her hands in his. What's going on? It's about Lily. That name hit him like a punch to the gut. What about her? Emily swallowed hard, pulling Jake closer. She's different, Jake. Her teacher called me today. There's something they discovered during the evaluation of her schoolwork. What kind of evaluation? His mind raced, conjuring up images of failed tests and unkind assessments. Apparently, she's reached levels far beyond her age group. But that's not the most astonishing part. They think she might have a gift. Lily? A gift? The words danced around the room, but he couldn't grasp their meaning. What are you saying? There's a woman, a psychologist, who specializes in these things. She wants to talk to us about Lily's potential. As the words sank in, Jake's heart raced with equal measures of dread and hope. Lily was special? He shook his head slowly. What does this mean for her? For us? Emily looked away, panic creeping into her features. I don't know, Jake. I just want to protect her. His heart ached for both of them. And I will. Whatever it takes, we'll figure this out together. The uncertainty hung in the air, thick and heavy, as everything felt poised on the edge of something monumental. But just then, a sudden thought struck him. What if this revelation about Lily means there could be opportunities? What if Emily's eyes narrowed, sensing where his thoughts were heading? What if what? He hesitated but then spoke, feeling the fear that had been holding him back begin to dissipate. What if this is our chance to make a real change? In her life and in ours? Before Emily could respond, his phone buzzed again in his pocket. Wondering what else could possibly be waiting for him, he reached for it and checked the message. We need to talk. Urgent. His breath caught in his throat. What more could possibly be coming their way? Jake's heart raced as he stared at the message on his phone. Panic and curiosity danced in his head. Who was this urgent message from? He could feel Emily's anxious gaze piercing through his confusion. Who is it? Emily asked, her voice shaky. Jake took a deep breath, torn between the weight of his responsibilities and the mystery unfolding around them. It's just someone wants to talk. It feels like everything's piling on all at once. Concern etched itself across Emily's face. Is it about Lily? I don't know, he admitted, frustration creeping in. But I have a feeling it's connected somehow. Maybe we should just focus on her for now, Emily urged. This psychologist, what if she has real answers for us? A wave of realization washed over Jake. They could dive deeper into this together. You're right. Let us get through this first. They sat down together at the kitchen table, the sun casting warm light through the windows. He could hear the distant sounds of children playing outside, laughter ringing through the air. It was a stark contrast to the uncertainty that enveloped them. Jake reached across the table, holding Emily's hands. We'll take things one step at a time, starting with this meeting about Lily. Emily nodded, squeezing his hand gently, grounding them both. What if we discover she has a chance at something wonderful? Maybe a path we didn't see before? Imagine how incredible that would be for her, Jake said, the glimmer of hope igniting in his chest. She deserves everything this world has to offer. But deep down, Jake couldn't shake the worry. What if it changes her forever? What if it's too much pressure? That's what we're here for, Emily reassured him. To help her navigate this. We can be her safety net. Jake leaned back, contemplating. What if this is just a beginning? A way for her to express herself in ways we never dreamed possible? His mind wandered to their little girl, with her inquisitive eyes and boundless imagination. Think of all the things she could achieve. What if she could help others too? The possibilities began swirling in the air, a tapestry of hope woven between them. Just then, the faint sound of footsteps broke their concentration, and Lily entered the kitchen, her face brightening the room. Hi, Mommy. Hi, Daddy. Hey, sweet pea, Jake said, forcing a smile despite the heaviness in his heart. How was school today? It was good. We did art. She held up a colorful drawing of a fantastical creature. Look what I made. The drawing was vibrant and imaginative, a snapshot of the world seen through Lily's eyes. That's amazing, honey, Emily exclaimed. You're so talented. Jake felt a swell of pride. His mind drifted back to what the psychologist might uncover about Lily, but he suddenly felt a spark of clarity. Whatever happened, they needed to shield her from the weight of everything. A child shouldn't bear the burden of too many expectations. Lily bounded over to them, excitement bubbling. Can I hang this on the fridge? Of course, Jake replied, feeling his heart lighten, if only for a moment. Lily turned to Emily, beaming. Can we have ice cream after dinner? Absolutely. Emily laughed, the tension easing for just a fleeting moment. But as Lily chatted on about her day, Jake's thoughts drifted back to the message. What did it mean for their family? What was waiting just on the horizon? Before he could ponder more, his phone buzzed again, and he instinctively checked it. Another message flashed. You can't ignore this. It's about Lily's future. Something in him snapped. With a determined nod, he looked at Emily. We have to answer this. A mixture of fear and courage surged within him as they prepared to confront whatever lay ahead. What awaited them was so much larger than they imagined. Jake felt the weight of the world pressing down on him as he typed a single word in response. Okay. It wasn't just a word. It was a bridge to the unknown chaos waiting on the other side. Adrenaline raced through his veins as he glanced at Emily, whose worried eyes mirrored his own internal struggle. Are you sure about this? Emily's voice wavered, and he could see her heart mirroring his. I have to be. Whatever this is, it's about Lily. We can't ignore it. Jake felt a surge of urgency, knowing that they had to explore every avenue for their daughter. The phone buzzed again, pulling him from his thoughts. The next message was concise and chilling. Meet me at the Oak Cafe. I can explain everything. Emily shook her head, disbelief washing over her. We can't just go running off. What if it's a scam? What if it puts us in danger? Jake shared her concerns, but imagining Lily's future fueled his resolve. He took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts. What if this person genuinely wants to help us? We can't let fear decision our path. Our little girl deserves better. Lily was busy rummaging through drawers, searching for something, her innocence keeping the heavier topics at bay. It was heartwarming to see her blissfully unaware of the storm brewing just beyond their door. Okay, we go. Emily finally relented, a soft sigh escaping her lips. But we take Lily with us. She should be part of this, at least in some way. As Jake looked at Lily, her laughter ringing through the house like a sweet melody, it felt right. No, it might be complicated. I don't want her mixed up in whatever this is. We'll find a way to keep her safe while we figure out the truth. Emily frowned. So, a little white lie? Just to keep her safe? Just for now. Jake hated lying to their daughter, but sometimes the truth needed to be shielded, especially when she could hardly fathom the currents swirling around her. Once they made a plan, they gathered their things. The car ride was choppy, punctuated by the sound of Lily's animated chatter about her classmates and new art projects. Blissfully unaware of the tension in the air, Emily and Jake exchanged nervous glances, knowing that soon the facade would crack. When they arrived at the Oak Cafe, the familiar warm aroma of coffee hit them, but it felt oppressive now, cloaked in uncertainty. The flashes of light from street lamps flickered through the glass windows, casting shapes like silhouettes against their anxieties. Inside, the cozy cafe was teeming with life. People shared laughter over steaming mugs, while somewhere in the back corner shadows loomed where they prepared to meet their unknown contact. This feels wrong, Emily murmured, squeezing Jake's hand tighter. What if this person doesn't have good intentions? We'll be cautious. Stay close to me. Jake lifted his chin, heart pounding in rhythm with his footsteps, drawing strength from the warmth of Emily's hand. As they approached the meeting point, every muscle in his body tensed, anticipating the confrontation. Then, just as they reached the table, a figure stood up. The person was cloaked in shadows, their eyes reflecting a sharpness that sent chills down Jake's spine. You came, the stranger said, with an unsettling calm. Before Jake could speak, the figure leaned forward, locking eyes with him. You need to listen carefully. I have something you must know about your daughter. That simple phrase froze him in place. This was at the moment they stepped into the unknown for. What could possibly be so important that it demanded their presence here now? As the stranger began to speak, Jake could feel the ground shifting beneath him. He knew that whatever came next would change everything, pushing them into a territory neither of them was prepared for. Tell me, Jake urged, his voice steady as he faced the mystery head-on. Little did he know, the truth was just as layered as the shadows lurking around him. Jake leaned in closer, his heart hammering against his chest. The cafe buzzed around them, laughter filling the air. But all he could focus on was the intensity in the stranger's eyes. His world had narrowed down to this very moment. "I'm here to tell you about Lily," the figure said softly, as if the name alone could unravel Jake's tight grip on reality. "She isn't just any ordinary child." Emily stiffened beside him, her brow furrowing. "What do you mean?" There was a tremor in her voice, laced with fear and an unshakable protective instinct. The stranger glanced around, ensuring they had a moment's peace before continuing. "I've been watching her for a while now. You both have no idea what she is capable of." Jake's mind raced. Capable of what? He exchanged a wary glance with Emily, his stomach churning. Memories of Lily painting in the living room, lost in her imaginary worlds, flooded in. "What are you saying? Is she in danger?" "Not yet, but she will be if you don't understand her potential," the stranger replied, glancing at Lily, who was still engrossed in the cafe's colors, blissfully oblivious to the gravity of their conversation. "Potential for what?" Jake pressed, desperation sharpening his words. "We're just trying to keep her safe." The flickering candlelight created shadows under his eyes, amplifying his determination. "The world is changing," the stranger said, their voice dropping to a whisper. "Children like Lily, they are the key. They're sensitive to things most adults refuse to see. Energy, emotions, even future events. If you don't prepare her, someone else will exploit that." Emily's grip tightened painfully around Jake's hand, the heat of anxiety radiating between them. It was a lot to absorb, both exhilarating and terrifying. "What do you mean, prepare her?" she asked, her tone barely above a whisper. "Teach her how to control it," the stranger continued. "She can sense feelings, and sometimes she might catch glimpses of what is to come. Kids like her can even change the outcome of events with their understanding of the world." "But she is so young," Jake exclaimed. The thought of thrusting such a huge responsibility onto their daughter felt unbearable. "She is only 12. This can't be true, it's too much." His mind spun, grappling at the idea that their innocent daughter could bear such a weight. "It is true," the stranger insisted. "And you need to decide. Do you want to help her harness it or let someone else take control of her gifts? Because they will come, and they will take her if you're not ready." The gravity of the words sank in. His childhood dreams of a simple life, of happiness with Emily and Lily, felt distant now. Was their daughter destined for something far greater, something darker? "What can we do?" Jake managed, swallowing hard against the panic rising in him. "Educate yourselves. Learn how to guide her. Unfortunately, there are others who know about her," the figure answered, their eyes glinting with concern. There was a pause, a silence that filled the air with tension. Emily leaned into Jake, seeking strength in him. How can we start?" "Meet me later this week. I'll introduce you to others who can help. But the clock is ticking." With that, the stranger stood, glancing around once more before disappearing into the cafe's bustling crowd. Jake's head swirled with the weight of the revelation. They had come seeking answers, but they walked away with a challenge that felt monumental. He turned to Emily, their eyes locking in a silent understanding of the urgency ahead. Their life was about to shift in ways they couldn't fathom. "Jake, we have to protect her," Emily said, her voice trembling. "I know," he replied, determination etched on his face. "We'll find a way to keep Lily safe. We have to." But just as they stepped toward the door, Lily's playful voice broke through their heavy thoughts. "Mom, Dad, look what I found. Can we get ice cream?" And in that moment, under the bright lights of a world that felt suddenly unsure, there was a flicker of bliss that reminded them why they were fighting. Yet Jake couldn't shake the sense of foreboding weighing on him. What choices lay ahead? What truths were they about to uncover about their daughter that would forever alter their perceptions of family and safety? As they stepped into the chilly night, Jake understood that the real journey was just beginning, and nothing would be the same again. The cold air bit at their cheeks as they stepped out into the parking lot. Jake pulled Emily closer, feeling her shiver against his side. The weight of the stranger's words hung over them like a storm cloud, heavy and dark. Did you see the way they looked at Lily? Emily said, her voice barely above a whisper, like they were afraid or something. She glanced over her shoulder, scanning the cafe entrance as if expecting the stranger to emerge again. Yeah, I saw. Jake sighed, running a hand through his hair. It's unnerving, and I can't shake this feeling that we're in over our heads. Lily bounced ahead, her cheerfulness at odds with the tension swirling between her parents. Come on, guys. The ice cream shop is just down the street. I'll race you. She took off without waiting, laughing as she zigzagged between the parked cars. Jake watched her run, the innocent joy radiating from her small figure bringing a fleeting smile to his face. It breathed a bit of life back into the darkness threatening to swallow him whole. But as soon as he turned back to Emily, the gravity returned. We have to figure this out, Jake said, needing to voice what they both feared. The stranger said there are others who know about her, about us. We can't keep living in ignorance. We need to know what's really going on. Emily nodded, but her eyes were filled with worry. What if we dig too deep? What if we uncover something we're not ready for? Jake stepped closer, lowering his voice. Whatever it is, we'll face it together. She's our daughter. We can't let anyone take her away. The certainty in his voice made Emily gather a breath. Okay, let us start with what we can control, she said, determination breaking through the fear. We'll meet this stranger and find out who else can help us. But we should also talk to Lily in our own way. Maybe she knows more than she realizes. Jake contemplated that for a moment, knowing it was the right move. They needed to nurture Lily's gifts without overwhelming her. You're right. We'll be careful. We can't scare her. As they caught up to Lily, Jake felt a flicker of hope. She was waving her arms, describing how she imagined the ice cream shop would look. It was just a little place, vibrant colors splashed over the walls, with the sweet smell of waffle cones wafting through the door. In their calmness, they found a brief escape from the gravity that would not release them. They stepped inside the shop, the bright lights and cheerful chatter surrounding them, momentarily shielding them from the looming reality. So what flavor do you want, Dad? Lily asked, eyes glimmering with excitement. Jake stammered, momentarily lost in her enthusiasm. How about mint chocolate chip? Yuck. I'd rather have all the flavors mixed together. Lily giggled, her laughter contagious. Emily shared a smile with Jake. It was a spark, the kind they had always cherished. All the flavors? I think we can manage that, Emily teased back, as they approached the counter. As they ordered, Jake felt a sense of normalcy wash over him. But the words of the stranger crept at the back of his mind. This could all change in an instant. Would it be the last carefree moment before everything became complicated? And when you mix them all together, it turns into rainbow ice cream, Lily said, her eyes wide with wonder. Rainbow ice cream? Huh? Jake mused, the imagery brightening his heart. Let us hope that rainbow lasts a while. But deep down he knew it wouldn't. Not with the threat of the unknown lurking beneath. As they waited for their order, a chill ran down his spine, the realization that the darkness was never far behind. Jake, Emily said suddenly, leaning closer. What if this is more than just about keeping Lily safe? What if she's meant for something bigger? Jake turned to her, his heart racing again. What was he really afraid of? That they would uncover a truth too profound to handle, or that in trying to protect Lily, they could miss her true purpose? The moment felt charged, alive with possibilities. They were on the edge of something monumental, but equally terrifying. Maybe it's both, Jake replied, their eyes locking in silent acknowledgement of the journey awaiting them. Whatever we discover, we'll face it together. But just as they reached for their ice cream, a figure in the corner caught Jake's eye. A child about Lily's age clutching something tightly and staring right at them. An intensity in her gaze that sent a jolt through him. His heartbeat thundered. What did she see? And suddenly, they were back in the midst of danger. What were they about to uncover? The stranger's stare pierced through the vibrant colors of the ice cream shop, shattering the fleeting moment of joy. Jake's heart raced as a wave of unease washed over him. Why was this girl looking at them like that? Dad? Lily's voice broke through his haze, innocent and curious. What's wrong? Jake shook his head, forcing a smile as he crouched down to her level. Nothing, sweetheart. Just a little distracted, I guess. But the girl in the corner didn't flinch. Her gaze remained fixed on Lily, and it felt as if there was a silent conversation happening between them, one he couldn't understand, but felt profoundly in his bones. Jake, Emily whispered, her voice trembling. She followed his line of sight. What is she doing here? A lump formed in Jake's throat. I don't know. The door jingled, bringing relief as a family entered, breaking the intensity of the moment. But Jake's attention was still on the girl, who seemed unfazed by the commotion around her. He could feel an unseen connection, a pull toward her that he didn't fully understand. Let us get our ice cream. Okay? He suggested, standing up again to shake off the nervous energy, because how could they appear rattled in front of Lily? They stood at the counter, placing their order while Jake's eyes darted back to the girl. She remained there, oddly detached, but still tightly gripping whatever she held in her hands. Here you go, the clerk said, handing over their brightly colored scoops, a whimsical mix of every flavor imaginable. Rainbow ice cream, Lily squealed, her face lighting up with delight. Just like I wanted. Jake forced a smile, but his mind wasn't on the ice cream. Let us find a table, he said, urging Emily and Lily away from the counter. His instincts whispered that the girl might have answers, or at least something vital to share. As they settled at a small table, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. The girl remained where she was, but now her grip had relaxed, and she was looking at Lily with an expression that was both haunting and inquisitive. Jake's heart raced. Lily, do you know that girl? He asked, trying to hide the urgency in his voice. Lily paused, glancing over her shoulder. No, but she looks nice. She waved, her innocent smile a stark contrast to Jake's growing concerns. I think she wants to be friends. Emily and Jake exchanged glances. This was a moment that could spiral in any direction. Maybe we should go say hi. Huh? Jake suggested, trying to maintain a calm demeanor. The last thing he wanted was for this to turn into a panic scenario. Okay. Lily hopped out of her chair, eager as always. She grabbed one of the last scoops, holding it up like a trophy. I'll share ice cream with you. Before Jake could hesitate, Lily made her way to the girl, leaving him no choice but to follow. Hi there. Lily grinned, holding out the ice cream to the stranger. Would you like some? It's rainbow. Jake arrived just behind her, and suddenly the icy walls around him melted away as he watched the girl's expression shift. The intensity faded, replaced by surprise and a hint of wonder. Okay, the girl said, her voice soft, almost hesitant. She looked at Jake, and a flicker of recognition sparked in her eyes. They're looking for you, she whispered, still clenching whatever it was in her small hands. They're watching. The weight of her words hit him like a stone dropped into a still pond, rippling through everything he thought he knew. What do you mean? He asked, urgency lacing his voice. But just as the girl opened her mouth to speak, a commotion erupted at the entrance. The door swung open with a loud creak, and a group of older kids rushed in, their voices full of laughter that felt more like prelude to a storm than joy. Lily, one of them shouted, eyes locking on the little girl with ice cream in hand. Something dark hovered in the air, and Jake felt the hair on his neck prickling. Run! The girl cried suddenly, the urgency in her voice electrifying the air around them. Before he could grasp the situation, he reacted instinctively, locking onto Lily's hand, pulling her close. This way, Em. We need to go. But would they escape whatever shadow loomed just beyond their line of sight? Run! The girl's plea rang true in Jake's ears as they navigated the confusion unfolding around them. As fear gripped him tighter, one thought resonated louder than the rest. They weren't just running from something, they were racing towards answers that might change everything. What truth had they stumbled upon, and was it too late to turn back? Jake sprinted through the cafe, holding Lily's tiny hand in his firm grip. Emily was close behind, her breath audible with each rushed step. The bustling cafe transformed into a blur of colors and sounds. Laughter echoed, yet danger tinged the air. Why are we running, Dad? Lily asked, her innocence cutting through the panic. Just trust me, sweetie, Jake said, keeping his focus ahead. We need to find a safe place. They burst out of the cafe and into the cool evening air, the weight of the stranger's warnings pressing on Jake's mind. Emily's eyes widened as she glanced back at the cafe entrance. Did you see how that girl looked at us? Emily gasped. What did she mean? Who is watching? I don't know, Jake admitted, urgency flooding his veins. But we can't take any chances. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he spotted the group of older kids from earlier, their shouts growing louder, their intentions unreadable. Panic surged as he realized the danger might be more than he initially thought. Were they a threat or a connection to understanding what lay ahead? They hurried past parked cars, Jake's heart racing in rhythm with their footsteps. Let us get to the car, he urged. Once inside, he locked the doors, his fingers trembling as he keyed the ignition. Emily's eyes brimmed with worry. What was that about? Are we safe now? Jake took a deep breath. We will be. Right now, we need to get home and figure this out. As he drove, Lily remained quiet, the earlier excitement of ice cream now overshadowed by confusion. He glanced at her in the rearview mirror, searching for her expression. Are you okay, love? Why did that girl say we're being watched? She asked, her voice small yet brave. Jake's heart ached. I don't really know, honey, but I promise we'll talk about it soon. Right now, we just need to get home. When they reached their driveway, Jake parked quickly but carefully. As they clambered out, every nerve tingled, the palpable weight of uncertainty in the air. Let us go inside, he directed, barely holding back the swelling dread deep inside. Once in the house, they settled at the kitchen table with a tension that clung to the air like fog. Emily glanced at Jake, her brow furrowed. What do we even say to Lily? We need to let her ask questions, Jake suggested, still grappling with the chaos of the evening. She needs to feel safe. The truth can wait until we know how to shield her. Lily looked back and forth, her brow furrowing with confusion. Am I in danger? No, sweet pea, Emily knelt beside her. We just want to make sure you're always safe. We need to understand what just happened. The room fell silent. Jake's heart raced as he prepared for the confrontation with the truth. This was no longer just about him. This was about Lily and the life they'd fight to protect. As he gathered his thoughts, his phone vibrated on the table, and he quickly snatched it up. Another alert about the mysterious stranger. A message read, "Meet me again tomorrow. Time is running out." He hesitated, worry chewing at his insides. We have to go see her again. What? Emily exclaimed, her eyes wide. Jake, are you serious? After everything that just happened? This could be the only chance we have to understand what is happening. He insisted, his voice steadying with determination. If there's danger, we need to know it. And Lily deserves to know the truth about her gift. But what if we're leading her deeper into something dark? Emily's voice trembled. We'll protect her. Promise. Lily's small voice broke the brewing storm. Can I come? Jake knelt down to her level, brushing her hair behind her ear. We need to keep some things safe for you. It's not that we don't want you with us, it's just that some things are still unclear. But I want to help. Her eyes sparkled with determination, and he could see the fierce spirit she ignited within. Jake sighed deeply, knowing he couldn't fully shield her from the truth. Okay, we'll let you know what is happening, and if it becomes too much, we'll promise to take a break. Emily nodded, her uncertainty merging with Jake's resolve. Together we'll be strong. They shared a moment of unity, but tension still lingered like a fog. As evening fell outside, Jake felt the weight of anticipation heavier than before. They had crossed a line. There was no going back now. What lay ahead could change the course of their lives forever. But they would face it together, each step bringing them closer to understanding Lily's gifts and protecting her at all costs. Jake pulled Lily close and kissed her forehead, whispering, "We're going to make sure you know how special you truly are." Hope bloomed within him, a flickering flame breaking through the shadows. They were on the path of revelation, and with determination, they would face whatever truth awaited them courageously, as a family. Little did they know, the journey ahead held both discovery and danger. But they would meet it with warmth, strength, and above all, love. If they could protect each other and navigate this transformation, maybe, just maybe, they could find the rainbow in a world filled with shadows. Now was the moment to step forward to become the guardians of Lily's legacy, destined to change the narrative for good. But before that could happen, a collective feeling tugged at them. They needed answers, and they would pursue them at any cost. The whispers were growing louder, beckoning them closer. Would they discover the truth in time, or would they be too late to save what mattered most? The uncertainty hung thick in the air, but hope remained flickering, ready to ignite flames of courage and love to light the way. And as their journey ensued, no force would hold them back from fighting for the family they had nearly lost. The final act was upon them, transformed by the bonds of love. They would harness the power of their unity and step boldly into the unknown now. If you enjoyed this incredible journey and want to follow our stories, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm, and comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your engagement makes all the difference.